Hi, so welcome back to the Yoga Cafe. Today we're going to be working with emotional balancing, and this will use some of the yoga practices as well as the qigong practices, a little more heavily on the qigong practice side, to help to manage when strong emotions come up. And it's nice to have this as a practice even when you're not experiencing strong emotions, so that you kind of have it in your toolkit when you need it. Okay, so something to think about throughout this whole month of practices, you want to make sure that you have plenty of water nearby. It could be warm, it could be cool, whatever you like, but we will be doing some vocalizing or exhaling through the mouth, and it's just really good to have water anytime you think about it. So part of our practice today will be on nourishing the kidney organs, and water and the kidneys kind of go hand in hand. So let's begin, as we do often, with a little bit of an assessment. So find a comfortable way to sit and take a few breaths, just organic breaths, ideally through the nose. And then when you're ready, begin to scan through the body from head to toe, just noticing physical body where there's congestion or discomfort or heat or chill, maybe numbness, or whatever else is arising as you scan down from head to toe. Notice how your body is in this moment. And if you are experiencing a strong emotion, where does that emotion live in your body? Is it in your jaw, your shoulders, your hands, your low back, your buttock muscles, your toes? Notice if any of these areas are hanging on to some strong emotion today. All right. So we'll proceed as if you are experiencing a very strong emotion. And the theory behind today's practice is that we are going to cleanse or rinse the emotions that are stuck in the heart organ, the heart system. And then we're going to nourish the kidney system. So these two organ systems in Chinese medicine are paired. Or they're not necessarily paired, but they balance each other out. So as we are taking the charge away from one area and filling the other area, we're helping to bring the system back into balance. Okay, so let's begin standing. As always, your chair is nearby in case you need it. Most of these practices, however, do require you to be standing. It's a really great way to discharge the heat of an emotion. So we're going to start off with a really simple practice that you probably remember from childhood. You're just going to shake your hands. And we do this in a way that's not harmful, right? So if you've got big rings on or jewelry on, you want to take that off. So just want to shake your hands loosely. And then as you do this, you're going to inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth with a ha sound. So let's try this 3 times together. Inhaling. Ah. And then simply set those hands over your chest and take a few breaths, swallowing and sensing. So the energy of the heart tends to get stuck in the hands and arms and chest, which is why we'll be focusing on those physical areas as well as the energy in those areas. Okay, now I want you to take your knuckles and just very gently begin to tap along the chest. So I'm going to move my mic so you can see this a little better. So you're going to tap maybe from the center, working out, and then back to the center. And what I want you to find is this kind of little special place that is below your collarbone, below the shoulder, and kind of right where the armpit begins, right? And let's take both hands over to one side. I'm doing my left side first, but just notice that area there. There might be a little bit of tenderness there. And then come over to the other side. So we don't want to be rough with ourselves. We just want to identify this area. Identify that area, okay? And then now that we've identified the area, we're going to let the arms swing. So you're just going to let the arms swing like you're wearing a really big coat, old coat, and the sleeves are too long. You're just letting the arms go. Keeping the arms as relaxed as possible. And then begin to direct where the hands land on your body. And remember that special spot at the top of the chest where the armpit begins. Let's direct the hand on the front of the body. And you're going to make just a little bit of a loose fist as you, almost like you're knocking on the chest there. At the same time, the hand behind is looking for the kidney area. And your shoulders might not allow you to come all the way up to the kidney area, so it might be more that you are hitting the low back area. Make sure it's not painful. This is more of a way to become aware of these two areas, the pairing of the heart and the kidney. All right, now start to make the movement a little slower. You can open up the hands and just swing the arms rather than directing them. Okay, and then we're going to come into a brushing practice. So I'll get a little closer, you can see this. So I'm going to bring my right hand up and around the breast area, and then over the top of the shoulder, down the hand, off and toss. So I make a circle and then brush down and toss. And the idea is I'm gathering up the unwanted chi, brushing it off, getting rid of it. So this, you could think of this chi, right? The energy of the heart, energy that's associated with the arms. This is the same energy that either really desperately wants to hug or really desperately wants to push, right? So the arms have this polarization, either pull me in close or push me away. Let's go to the other side. So if you have those energies stuck in your arms because you're not able to pull close or push away when you want to, right? Because we live in a society and we can't go around shoving people or grabbing them. So this energy gets stuck and we want to discharge it with the ha and then move it out. with either swinging, brushing, moving. Push-ups sometimes really work. Last one. Okay. All right, just notice how that feels. All right, now take a moment. You might feel a bit of tingling or pulsing through the hands, letting you know that the blood is circulating. And where the blood's circulating, where you're feeling that pulsing, you're definitely moving energy. In the event where you're not really feeling much movement of energy, you may need to do these practices just a little bit longer, okay? Now we're gonna move into the arms as they relate to the rest of the body. So we're going to do a spinal wave, a spinal opening of the spine practice. And what I invite you to really explore is swinging the hips back and forth, keeping the knees very slightly bent, or even deeper bend if your knees will tolerate it. And the hips, just remember that the hips are part of the whole experience, okay? So we're gonna start by bringing the arms overhead, and then it's as if the joints are sequentially melting. So we melt the wrist joint, elbow joint, neck, shoulders, upper back, mid back, low back, hips, knees, feet, and then you're just hanging like a rag doll. Then we're going to restack the spine, but we have to swing the hips forward to do that. So we're going to bring the hips forward, and we push into the heels, stack the knees, the hips, and then the arms just sort of go out to the side, because from the waist up, you're still a rag doll. And as the arms go out to the side, you start to pull the hips back underneath the shoulders, which swings the arms up. And we're right back at the start. So we're going to exhale as we melt down, wrists, elbows, shoulders, neck, back, hips, knees, heels. And then inhale as we come up, heels, knees, hips, back, shoulders, arms, neck. Exhale down. And then inhale up. And exhale down. Now this might feel very physical, and it could be for now. So you might just be focusing on the physical aspects of this wave, how it feels in through the joints. But in a moment, we're going to bring in the energetic component. So it's hard for me to describe and do. So I'm just going to do for a few rounds. Now, the next time you roll up, I want you to take a pause. So you're going to inhale up, let your arms hang to the sides. You're leaning your head back. Exhale through the mouth. And then inhale, continue rolling up. Exhale, roll down. Do that again. Inhale, roll up. Pause. Exhale. Inhale, finish. And then roll down. So when the arms are hanging out to the sides during that exhale, I want you to feel the area that you are tapping, right? That magical spot where the armpit begins. Exhale, roll down. And you might need to open your arms to feel that. And there's a good chance there's a bit of shaking happening at the abdomen. Okay. Now we're going to do 3 rounds where we hold it. We're going to hold this area here. 3 breaths. One more. And then inhale up, exhale, roll down. And we're going to hold the down for 3 breaths. I feel, or I imagine, I visualize whatever is stuck in my heart is just dripping down my fingers into the floor. Okay, next inhale, you're going to roll up and hold for 3 breaths. Make sure this doesn't hurt your back. Get those hips forward. And then inhale up, exhale, roll down and hold for 3 breaths. Dripping down, getting rid of whatever has been clogging up the heart. And then last round, inhale, roll up, pause. You can add the ha sound if you like. And then we inhale up, exhale, roll down, stay for 3 breaths. The sound that you make out through your mouth amplifies the experience, but it's not for everyone. Okay, next time you inhale, slowly roll up, come all the way up, and then exhale, bring the hands down, and just pause in your standing position, feeling, sensing if there's any change, anything at all. Now, at this point, if you feel like, oh, I've discharged whatever was an issue for me, you know, whatever was kind of clouding your judgment the moment, then you may not need to do this next part. You might just roll right into the kidney nourishing. But if you still feel like there's something there, there's still a little bit of something stuck, you haven't quite let go of whatever has hold of your heart, then you're going to do this practice called dropping the post. And I want to, I guess, let you know that the surface you are standing on really affects how much of an impact you have. So we're going to be doing this little practice of dropping the heels against the ground, whatever ground you're standing on. Now, if you happen to be standing in your yard and you're on grass, go for it. The earth is a really lovely receiver of your weight. But if you're standing on, let's say, a tile floor or cement, something that's really hard, then you want to go a little bit softer, okay? And the idea with these dropping, heel dropping, is that each time you drop the heel, you know, it's a little bit of a shakeup throughout the whole system, with the concept of letting it go, letting whatever has hold of your heart, has hold of your system, letting it drop down. Okay, so pounding hard is not necessarily the idea. Getting rid of what is clogging up your system, that's the idea. So we're just going to start. Maybe I'll stand back here so you can see my feet a little bit better. So you're just going to start by gently tapping the heels against the floor. And the rest of your body stays as relaxed as it can. So you might notice the arms are kind of doing this little ripply wave thing, maybe even the head, depending on how much tension you can release through the joints. Okay, so this is just getting used to how the little earthquake of pounding ripples through the rest of the body. Okay. All right, so that's the precursor. Now we're going to do a slightly emphasized pounding, and it's a little bit like you're a bottle of ketchup with a little ketchup in the bottom, and somebody is tapping the top of your head to try to get the ketchup out. So this is really getting the gunk out. So in this emphasized round, you're just going to inhale the arms out and the heels up, and then exhale and drop the pose, drop your heels as many times as you need to get the gunk out. So it just goes down, 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 down. So really visualize whatever is stuck in your body as starting to shift down, 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 down. Okay, let's do that 2 more times. So you inhale and then exhale, getting rid of it. And again. Okay, and then shake out your legs, shake out your arms. Just notice how that feels. We're going to come into another seated assessment. I like to do my assessments, my body scans, kind of all the same way, so that there's nothing extra going on when I do my body scans. Good time to get some water. And then sit comfortably. And begin to scan through the body from the top of your head down. Again, noticing if there are places in the body that feel agitated or calm, hot or cool. Is there discomfort? Is there ease? And then take a moment to compare this body scan to the very first body scan and notice if anything has shifted. Any places in your body that might have been holding on to emotions. Maybe those areas are cleared or at least less congested. Okay, so we're going to shift now from the cleansing the heart practice to nourishing the kidney practice. And we're going to start by bringing our focus inward. We do this with actually with a yogic practice called Brahmari. This is a humming pranayama or breathing practice. So you're just going to hum. Inhale and exhale through the nose and hum. And the idea is that your mind is going to be so focused on your hum, on the sound that you're making, that you really get to elongate and connect with your diaphragm as you exhale. Okay? So we're going to do about 4 or 5 rounds, depending on how long your breath is. There is an option if you really want to listen to the sound of your hum without any external distractions. There's an option of closing the ears. If you're going to do that after your 4th or 5th round, just make sure you open your eyes and see if we've moved on or not. All right, so begin whenever you're ready. Mm. 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 Take a few rounds of breath. Feeling how the attention has shifted, how your breathing has shifted. It becomes a much more internal practice now. Again, if you need water, please get it. And then lean a little bit forward and see if you can bring your hands to your kidney area. It might mean that you turn your palms to face the back of your chair, whatever works for your shoulders. And if you can't quite reach the kidney area, that's fine. So have the feet flat on the ground. You can do this visualization with eyes open or closed, whatever works for you. I want you to bring your attention to the bottoms of your feet, where they connect with the floor or the ground. Visualize at the bottoms of your feet a beautiful blue mist forming. That mist from the earth. And let's imagine that our legs are like straws that can pull the water from the earth up into the body. So as you breathe in, visualize that you are drawing that blue mist up through the feet, shins, legs, hips, all the way up into the kidneys where your hands are. As you exhale, just let that blue mist stay there. Inhale, draw the blue mist up, and then exhale, let it stay there. And each time you add more of this beautiful blue mist, the color gets a little bit stronger, a little more condensed, a little bit brighter, until you have two very clear pools of blue right around the kidneys, bathing the kidneys, filling the kidneys. And think of this blue as just a very vibrant blue. If you know the stone lapis, think about the color of lapis, that beautiful blue, kind of a Mediterranean sea. Let's take one more breath, drawing that water from the feet up through the legs into the kidneys. Exhale, storing it there. Okay. And then when you're ready, we're going to come up to standing again. I know it's a little up and down here today, because nourishing the kidneys really works best either in a standing, well, it works best in a lot of different ways. So standing is kind of a supercharged way of nourishing the kidneys. So let's step the feet a little wider than your shoulders, and you're welcome to turn your toes slightly apart. Keep the knees from locking, keep them nice and loose, and just begin to shift your weight from one heel to the other. And visualize for a moment that you are standing in, let's say, some waist deep water, that beautiful blue lapis colored water. And so there's this buoyancy to your movements. You can even trail your fingers through that imaginary water. There's a buoyancy there and a fluidity in your movements. Now, if I were to ask you to make a figure eight with your hips, probably what would happen is your knees would get a little tired because they tend to take the brunt of any hip twisting. So let's see if we can do some moving of the hips without bothering the knees. So let's keep the knees forward as we shift our weight. And then at the end, once the weight is shifted, then rotate the hips. So shift the weight, rotate your hip, shift the weight, rotate your hip. And I'm shifting or rotating the hip toward the bent leg, toward the weighted leg. So I'm going to lean into my back leg and then rotate. Lean into the back leg and then rotate towards it. Yeah. And then again, find that buoyancy. And think about pulling the blue mist, that watery element, up from the feet, up into the legs. Now let's take the left hand to the back, maybe placing the left hand on a kidney, if you can reach it, or just to your low back. Okay, so our right hand is going to direct some of the energy. And we're just going to drop down into that beautiful water and then turn the palm to face out as you shift the other way. Drop down, turn the palm and shift. Drop down, turn the palm and shift. Drop down, turn the palm and shift. So you're gathering that beautiful blue lapis blue colored energy from the hands, from the feet, and it's just filling up the kidney. Let's do this one more time. And then we'll just let the hands go, trailing in the water. Shift the weight, then turn the hip. Shift the weight, then turn the hip. Shift the weight, then turn the hip. And there's a slight tuck to the pelvis too. So try not to be doing it this way. Otherwise your back will get really tired. So there's a slight tuck to the pelvis, almost like you're balancing a book on your head. Okay. All right. And then let's take the right hand to either the low back or the kidney area. And we're going to let the left hand be the gatherer of the qi, of the kidney qi. So it's going to dip down, and then you turn the palm, and you go across. Dip down, turn the palm, as you go across. Gathering that beautiful blue colored energy through the legs, into the hips, into the kidney area. Let's do this one more time. And then we'll release, and then just sway the hands a little bit side to side. And you can step the feet a little closer together and bring your hands to the low belly. And just pause there. Okay, so we're coming now to the floor. And if you have a very soft surface that you rest your mat on, then you probably don't need to do anything but make your way down there. But if, like me, you have kind of a harder surface, you may want to place a blanket or some other cushion on top of your mat. And then once we are done with the practice, we're going to use this spot for relaxation. So if you want to bring a cushion, pillows, warm socks, whatever you need to be comfy during that part of our practice, please do. Okay. So make your way to your back. And I always like to start with my knees bent and feet a little bit wider than the hips. I find that to be the most comfortable for me. So take a few moments there. Let's place the hands on the belly. And just breathe. And then when you're ready, begin to sway your knees a little bit side to side. The legs don't have to come all the way to the floor. I just want you to feel this kind of massage quality at the back of the pelvis as you're rocking left to right. And if you'd like, you can open the arms out, palms facing up. That can feel really good for the armpit area, for the arms, for the shoulders. If that bothers your shoulders, though, you can always bring the hands back to your belly. Okay. So once you have that experience of rocking across, really rocking across your sacrum, that's that kind of curved bone that connects at the base of the spine, that connects the two hips at the back of the pelvis. All right, and then point the knees back up to the ceiling and bring your hands back to your belly. And the next time you exhale, I want you to press the back of your waistband towards the floor, and you're ever so slightly curling the tailbone towards your knees. And then as you inhale, reverse it. So tailbone into the floor, back of the waistband pulls away from the ground. Exhale, waistband down, tailbone up. Inhale, tailbone down, waistband up. And go back and forth that way. So we're rocking, you could think of it as rocking north to south along the sacrum. So we've first did left to right, east to west, and now we're doing top to bottom, north to south. Let's do a few more like that. Noticing how that feels. Okay. And then come to a neutral position. Take a moment to pause and observe any pulses or tingles. So we did left to right, top to bottom. Now we're going to see if we can go around in a circle. So let's start by bringing the feet right next to each other, because just like when we were standing and trying to make a figure eight with the hips, and I said that the knees would get involved, the knees will want to get involved in this too. So let's pretend that our back is resting on a big turntable. Yeah, and you're going to start off by rocking your weight over towards the left hip. Feel how the left foot gets heavier. And then rock your weight towards the tailbone. And then your weight over towards the right hip. And then towards your waistband. Okay, so that's one complete circle. Let's try it again. Left, tailbone, right, waistband. Left, tailbone, right, waistband. And go around again. See if you can make this fluid, very watery. Remember, water element when we're talking about the kidneys. Very fluid. Go around one more time in this direction. And then let's reverse. So we'll bring the weight over to the right hip, down to the tailbone, left hip, waistband, right hip, tailbone, left hip, waistband, right hip, tailbone, left hip, waistband, and continue. It's a little bit like you're trying to do a hula dance, but you're on your back. This is actually an interesting experience to try to do this on your bed where the surface is much softer. You don't get quite as much information of where you are in space, because the bed just lets you go whatever direction you want to go. Okay, let's go around one more time. And then we're going to come back to center. Just pause. You're welcome to extend the legs, or you can keep the knees bent. I just want you to notice how your body feels. Okay, let's bring the knees into the chest. And you're welcome to grab the back of the thighs or the knees themselves or the shins, whatever you can take hold of, but pull the knees in and just see how that feels. So in a moment, I'm going to ask you to come into a child's pose, essentially this position, but on your knees. And some of us are okay with being on the knees, some of us are not. So if you're not on your knees, this could be one of your options, one of your variations, or I'll give you an option to do child's pose from a chair. All right, so if you're doing child's pose on the floor, on your knees, you're going to come over to your side. It's a good idea to have some padding under the knees. And then it's a good idea to have a little bit of elevation under your torso. We may be here a little while. So I'm going to pull my bolster right between my knees. Set my hands on either side of the bolster and then turn my head to one side. And just pause there. And you'll notice that, well, I don't know if you can see it from this angle, but my head and my heart and my hips are kind of parallel to the floor, right? So I'm not way up here. Okay. If you find that you can't get your hips this low to your feet, then stack up your cushion so that your head is a little bit higher. Now, if this is not an option for you, let's look at what is possible. So I'm going to show you the couch and chair variation. So I'm sitting on my couch and I have the chair in front of me, bolster on the chair, and then I do the same thing as when I was on the floor, resting this way. Okay, so this is the way that you get, and actually, because there's a difference in height here, I could even do it here. This is a way that you can get your head, your heart, and your hips all parallel to the floor again without hurting your knees. And I want you to be able to find a version of child's pose that you can sustain for a few minutes so that we can come into a very restorative version of this pose. Now, if you've been listening to me in the pose this whole time and your head has been turned to one side, this is a good time to turn your head to the other side if your neck allows it. And just take a few more moments here, letting your body settle in, feeling that sense of support and safety. All your vital organs are protected. Let your breathing slow down. Be aware of what arises when you become still. We are a culture of motion. So when you choose stillness, it may seem strange. So just observe how you respond to stillness. Now you're welcome to remain here for as long as you like, or even shift into another restorative relaxation position. But if you're finished, Bring your hands under your shoulders, gently help yourself up. And come to a comfortable seat, whatever that looks like. Take a few moments to once again scan from top to bottom, observing how you feel physically, all the joints, the muscles. Are there any nooks and crannies that are still holding on to tension or emotion? Are there still places that are feeling numb? And then notice your energy level. How's your breath? How's the breath moving through the body? Can you feel and sense the body and the energy that resides there? And then notice your state of mind and state of emotions. Has anything shifted? Anything that was clogging up the heart? Has anything shifted out? Is there any more space and ease and peace? Okay. So that is our practice today on emotional balancing. I hope you find it useful. Again, even if you are not someone who flies off the handle or, it crumples at the drop of a hat, still having these tools in your toolkit can be useful because as humans, living in a society, we bump up against each other and things happen. So this is kind of your emotional first aid kit. So I hope it was useful, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you so much. Peace.